So there's this component called Cloud Builder. It's deployed as a virtual appliance. And for those that haven't played with VCF, when you go download the software, there's sort of two key pieces that you'll go ahead and download, right? Obviously, the ESXi hypervisor, you go install that. There's a specific BOM, so there is going to be a check to make sure that you've got the matching version. So I think with 5.2.1 version of VCF, it's going to require you to have 802.3b, if I recall correctly. And this virtual appliance gets deployed onto ESXi using that VMFS partition, right? And that partition can actually be used for a bunch of other things. In fact, I've run local DNS, and that was part of the demo I did at Vima Connect, was just have a local DNS server, and that provided all the DNS. And so you can actually deploy other workloads there. Now, the Cloud Builder appliance is what you would use in production, and when you go stand up a full VCF stack, right? It's responsible for processing that a set of hosts. So by default, and I guess it's important to state this, is that in a production grade deployment or default deployment, VCF does require you to have four ESXi hosts, right? It uses vSAN for the management domain. And the reason it requires four, I think you actually wrote about this topic ages ago, right? Is that it requires three for constructing the vSAN data store, but we want to make sure that it's N+1 configuration so that if you need a patch, upgrade. And so that's why VCF mandates four hosts. Now, obviously, it'd be great if you can get away with one. So some of the additional configuration changes that I've done, and I also wrote a script to go and process that, is to basically tweak the VCF deployment configuration so that it allows for one host, so it doesn't require the four hosts. Um, the second thing I've also done too is that by default, when we deploy the NSX manager configuration, NSX today is deployed as a three-node configuration. Now, each of those nodes have both CPU and memory reservations, right? Which can take up quite a bit of resources, especially if you're not using it to high scale. So the other thing I've done is go into the file system, and because it's a virtual file system, you have to kind of mess with it a little bit. But what I did was basically remove the CPU memory reservations. And then there's an additional parameter that you can tweak that allows you to just deploy a single NSX manager rather than three. So this allows me to, have a single ESXi host, have a optimized NSX deployment, and then I go ahead and deploy it.